She-Hulk was never meant to appeal to me, but that doesn't really matter. Now, what do I mean by this? What I mean by this is, um, it's not exactly what I expected or what I would have liked, but I think they've done something right here. Let me elaborate. Now, here's just to get into context. I finished season 3 of Daredevil in preparation for She-Hulk. Really, I was just watching to watch Charlie Cox play Daredevil again. Um, but I did kind of think that She-Hulk was going to be a good show. And to be fair, it is. And this is more of a retrospective than an actual critique because I will come here, full disclosure right now, I'm not into the character of She-Hulk that well, or that much. Um, this show is it's a stark contrast in tone from the Netflix shows. Which, to add on to that, I was watching season 2 of Punisher between episodes of She-Hulk, and I was also watching the Defender series as well. Um, well, actually, I started the Defender series this week, and going back to that tone for me is a lot better. Now, I have a few problems with the show. The tone is a considerably lesser extent than just the personality of Jennifer Walters. Now, of course, this is more of a personal thing, as I think a more serious and grounded tone is most appealing to me. But I do appreciate the variation in tone in the Marvel shows, but it's just not that appealing to me personally. Now that's another thing which I want to get into is Jennifer Walters herself. To me, she was more like a high school girl throughout the show, especially what was it, episode 2 or 3 where she's twerking at the end. That was a little but that's not to say that there aren't moments that I liked about the show. I liked because because of course life fucking sucks, and to a certain extent it kind of feels like she's in a Spider-Man 2 sort of situation where shit is just going bad for her and very little is going right for her. And especially towards this one scene in one of the episodes where, of course, I'm going in spoilers. So this is assuming that you've seen the show already. Full disclosure. But I really like this scene where she's opening up about having this sort of double personality kind of thing, which I think is a very nice thing to touch on, because a lot of people on the internet just assume, hey, I need to have this sort of double personality. I need to display myself as more extroverted or outgoing sort of person and just conceal any of the bad parts or any of the more shy aspects of a person. So just seeing that is so sweet. And fuck, what was that led to that one guy that looked like a Wookiee taking off his mask, and which I thought was sweet as well. Just that whole thing. I also do appreciate the aspects of them taking her job as like half of the show, because I mean, of course, the name is She-Hulk Attorney at Law, so you get to see some of that. It's kind of cool because it kind of reminds me of the scenes in Daredevil where Matt is doing his job along with Foggy and Karen, and it also in a way sets up the scene involving Matt and Jennifer towards episode 8, which I liked. Oh yeah, I'm gonna get into Matt Murdock in a minute, but to me the highlight, my favorite character in the show is Abomination. I haven't seen The Incredible Hulk, and that might be on my list now, but The Incredible Hulk, Abomination, I thought was pretty nice. It feels like a very stark contrast between what he's done and who he is. It is a little cool because there was a scene of Wong talking about breaking him out, which fills a gap in Shang-Chi. I haven't talked about Shang-Chi. I don't know if I will, but it was just nice filling holes in there. And that's also, as a side note, the reason I'm watching Defenders, because the beginning of season 3 in Daredevil kind of confused me a little bit, especially considering I saw Elektra die at the end of season 2. Spoiler alert. And it was just really jarring, and that made no sense to me. But that's another hole that I need to fill. But yeah, Abomination is great. The Taylor might be great as well. The Taylor for She-Hulk's character. Or for She-Hulk. Fuck me. And also Daredevil as well. Which, I'll get into Matt Murdock now. Matt Murdock is more good than mediocre, I guess. And I'll get into that. Okay, the reason I say that is because he is written a little differently. Okay, Matt Murdock as lawyer is fine. Like, he's still in character in terms of that. But when he's Daredevil, it's a bit of a different story because he's a bit more wisecracking. Now, that's not the fault of the character either. It's just the writing. Because, of course, Daredevil, the Netflix Daredevil show, is a more serious show. Whereas in She-Hulk, it's a little more laid back, you know. It's more enlightening in a way. But in turn, that also kind of not butchers the character, but makes a pretty significant contrast, I would say, to what we're used to seeing. It kind of rubbed me the wrong way because, you know, he's Daredevil, but looking back, it's not that big of a deal. Now, the most jarring thing that I've seen about the show, the fourth wall breaks. Now, again, I am not familiar with She-Hulk. I have to keep elaborating on that because that can nullify any criticisms that I have. And I also want this to be an open discussion for anybody that is into She-Hulk. Now, the biggest part about it, her talking to the audience throughout the show is fine. I actually think that's funny in a way. And also another touch on the some of the jokes do land, and I was chuckling and even laughing throughout the show, so I gotta give credit to that. But the last episode was very unexpected, and if you're not familiar with She-Hulk at all, you're definitely gonna be shocked and maybe rubbed the wrong way like I was. But if you know the character, you're going to love that moment. It might be a little intrusive because they take a stab at Kevin Feige, which I mean, I guess he kind of deserves it. But yeah, just be ready for that, I guess, if you haven't seen that. Well, wait, this is assuming you've seen it. Just that whole moment just threw me out of whack, and it gave me a brain fuck moment, especially considering that they also write in Daredevil back for whatever reason. Well, him and Jennifer would probably be a good couple. Yeah. But yeah, it was a little iffy. But of course, this also gets me to the opinions. Now, before looking a little bit into She-Hulk, I knew very little about her, if at all. I just assumed, hey, it's gonna be another lawyer thing. That's cool. I didn't expect it to be a sort of episodic sort of thing, similar to The Mandalorian or any cartoon for that matter. Well, not that Mandalorian is a cartoon, but you get the idea. So, looking back, I do think it's a good idea to have an episodic sort of show, because it breaks the monotony of certain shows. Like, I know these are great shows to me, but Moon Knight, Punisher, and Daredevil, they're always building up to something in every season, which, with some time, it can be a little intrusive and maybe, and of course it's repetitive, but it becomes more and more noticeable. But the thing that holds those back are the characters and the story beats, which I kind of want to touch on Daredevil next, but we'll see. I don't know. Depends on what you guys ask for, if at all. Um, so it's a nice change of pace, I would say. Not just to have an enlightening story, because Moon Knight was more serious, um, and also just the Netflix shows in general are more serious, but it is going to be a pretty jarring change of tone if you're doing what I'm doing and watching Netflix shows at the same time. Now, given all of this, and also with the retrospect that I have, She-Hulk is a good show. That's what's been building up to this point. She-Hulk is great. Again, if you're really into the Netflix shows, this might not be the show for you, especially if you're really into those shows and you're just into serious tones in general. But if you don't care about that and you're just here for a good time, and if you want to see a faithful recreation of She-Hulk from what I've seen, you're gonna like the show, I think. So yeah, that's pretty much my piece on She-Hulk. Now, just for future ideas, I guess, there are some shows that I haven't seen, and depending on what they are, I might check them out. But there are some shows that I have on the table that I might review, and also because I have not reviewed the original trilogy of Star Wars, I am so fucking sorry for that. Because I said I would do that in my stories a while back. And also, if you want me to do like a face cam review on the prequel trilogy, I'll do that. I'm gonna watch them again just to refresh my memory and reinforce any points, but I'm definitely looking into that. Of course, the Netflix Daredevil series, I would definitely consider reviewing, but the question is if I want to do it season by season or just the entire show as a whole. I think doing them season by season is better because it's so big. Like each season, the stakes and what happens in them are pretty big, that I don't think they can all be covered in one video. But if I do have to do them in one big video, which is unlikely, then it's just gonna take a long time, and I'm actually gonna have to do a script. Not to say that I'm bothered by it. I actually kind of like writing a little bit, but it's just gonna take a lot longer. And I do like to push these videos out. Whether that's a good thing or a bad thing, y'all be the judge. Another show that I want to consider reviewing is The Punisher and Moon Knight as well. I know those shows are pretty old now, but I do want to get into them because I love those shows. And maybe The Spectacular Spider-Man as well. I mean, come on. Some of you might know by now I'm a big Spidey fan, and since The Spectacular Spider-Man dropped on Netflix, I've been meaning to watch the whole thing. I didn't, at least before it migrated to Disney Plus as of last week, I think. But I truly think that it would be worth. I mean, yeah, it's a cartoon, but everybody has a childish side, okay? Oh yeah, just to reference, it's 11:40 in the morning currently at October 27th on a Thursday. Just for reference. But yeah, that's about it. I'm about excited to play Modern Warfare 2 tomorrow. I might talk about the 2019 Modern Warfare because that game is pretty cool, and I've been playing the campaign a bit, but we'll just see how it is. I am a little... They've got good and bads. So, yeah. I'll see y'all around. Also, yes, I know, my bed is a bit shit right now, and so is the stuff over here. I'll figure it out, okay? Like, the night before I had 4 hours of sleep, and I decided, fuck it, I'm just gonna get 2 more hours. But last night I got 7. So, fantastic. And, you know, gotta be an adult and stuff. I still have some homework to do, but we'll get that fixed. Alright, see y'all around.